the reason I went for the hosepipe ring was initially I had, in the first gloves, the solar panel actually attached to the palm, but testing it out with friends and all, they said it was hard to gauge where the actual solar panel was. So, you know, with the hosepipe ring you have kind of a visual cue, you know where the solar panel is, so you can find the lights easy enough as you're bringing it over them. But anyway, that's mainly the design, so I'll talk you through kind of what, where I started off and how I ended up with a briefcase. So I was investigating what the Arduino could do, and I found that some of the pins had a function called pulse width modulation. So I kind of did a bit of research on that online, and I found a guy who had who'd made had used the pins to send audio via light signals. So in his video, he actually has a solar panel and a laser pen, and when he shines the laser pen on the solar panel that's connected to a speaker, it plays voice. So I thought that was a pretty cool idea. So that was my kind of starting point. What I'd hoped to kind of do was to use multiple lights playing different samples that you could zoom in and out of using the gloves. So I'll just show you where I started off. So yeah, it's just like a wee melody that I'd made, and that was kind of like the starting point where I realized I was able to replicate what the guy had done online. But then I started to realize the drawbacks, such as the actual sampling rate that you can achieve with this method, which is about 8,000 hertz. And also it's only an 8-bit sample as well, and the process of actually getting audio to convert from, convert it down and into hexadecimal format and then onto the Arduino, it was way too long, and it was proven to be kind of an awkward process. And then not only that, but then the actual Arduino itself doesn't have that many PWM pins that can do this function. So after a while I realized that it wasn't really going to be practical to have multiple lights doing this, so I started to kind of think about other ways and how else I could produce tones with the 12 digital pins. And one way I realized was that if you turn the pin on and off, you can create pulse waves. So that was what my next stage was. So I started kind of experimenting with that. So this was a program I made then that assigned different pulse tones to each of the lights. And all that is that's just essentially each of the different digital pins cycling on and off at a different frequency to create these tones. And what I've noticed is pretty interesting about it is that depending on how far you are, you kind of have control of the envelope. So you can have it quite harsh and bright if you just bring it across quite close, or if you take it further back, you get a more kind of a softer sound. So I realized that this kind of style, using the gloves, would kind of give you control of the envelope, and you can have quick attacks or slow attacks and slow decay, or a slow attack and quick decay. I've included the buttons then just to kind of see how I could change the notes, or what notes I could actually get out of just using the 8 LEDs. So I've included key change, octave change, and scale change. So that's the scale change. So there's blues, and a major scale, and then just chromatic. So with this sketch here, I realized that there was only a set limit of tones that I could achieve using the microcontroller, because it was starting to push it to its limitations, a 16 megahertz processor. So I'll show you now, once I get to actual higher pitches, you can actually hear the strain on the Arduino, and you start to lose the tuning a wee bit. Stuff there, and I kind of realized that I didn't really want this to be in an instrument that you were playing, so I decided then to kind of go back to the sketches and see if I could create sketches that kind of use the frequencies that were available. I also tried to fix it by going into the code and find out that the Arduino code for writing to the pins is it's kind of like for beginners. It's quite simple to use. It's digital write, but if you do a bit of research, you can actually find the code for going direct to the ports, and it's like binary, and you can actually go in, and apparently this makes the process 100 times faster. So I've done that, and I've kind of improved the efficiency, but even still, I think on about the fourth octave it starts to kind of lose its tuning a wee bit. It doesn't sound nice. So I made a sketch then that is tuned to C major. And what I've done this time is I've actually separated the 8 LEDs, so 4 for the left hand, 4 for the right hand, and the controls this time just cycle through the C major scale up and down 4 notes. So this way, I've got rid of the higher register so that all the notes sound nice with each other. And I thought what's nice about this way is that it can actually incorporate a second person if they wanted. One person, I could wear the left-handed glove and somebody else could wear the right, and we could both play. Another thing I've noticed as well with the solar panels, it was quite hard trying to get two that worked well with each other because they have different efficiencies. So what I did was I bought a load for them from the pawn shop and then used a multimeter to check which had similar efficiencies, put them together. But even with that, you can actually hear a difference in the tone it produces. So this one's slightly thinner, and what I think that what's happening is because of the order they're in the chain, the signal from this one has to pass through this solar panel. I think it's doing some kind of filtering on the signal that's causing it to be a bit thinner. But regardless, it's all right because you have two different colors you can get with your gloves. And then for the composition, then finally, what I did was I decided to pull together all of the different sketches I'd made. Another sketch that I had made was just to see if I could use the pulse width modulation to generate noise. So if I just open that one up. I mean, the Macs are pretty fast at uploading the sketches, so I could upload different sketches on the fly. If I was to use the PWM, I could still have some samples if you were composing with this live. So and then last night then I decided I wanted to kind of just see if I could make a custom sketch that used only notes that sounded nice with each other, so if there was any spill from the other lights, then it would sound pleasant. So I made some arpeggios. And now the controls change. One will change the arpeggio from major to minor into a third, and the other one will change the actual chord from C to G or F or A. So so at the moment, like the actual sound of it, it's a bit dry. It doesn't sound, well, it just sounds like a pulse wave, but what I've then been able to do then is, because I have this output on the side, is I can actually bring it into different music software. So I have a patch opened in Reason here. So really, with the actual instrument itself, that it does provide portability, but if you are with a computer, you can actually then take the sound a wee bit further and compose with it and use it as kind of like an instrument to use with your different effects and different programs. So just like before I finish up and take a few questions, I'll just try and improvise some music over noise just to give you an example. Okay, so that's that's pretty much it. If any guys have any questions, feel free to ask, and if anyone wants to actually have a go, I do encourage people to come up and have a try on it, get a feel for what's actually going on. Does anyone have any questions?
What are the 2 rows of lights?
Why is there 2 rows?
Yes.
Well, the idea for that was for performance-wise, whenever the speakers were facing the audience, they could see the lights. I thought it was a nice visual thing for the audience. When the sketches are uploaded, they change. But also, I was thinking for someone that perhaps was playing at home with themselves, you can close it over, and you can play with the sound actually coming up towards you. And also, I don't know if you can actually see, but on the inside, the lights, I've actually designed them so that they actually can come free. So I was thinking, like, another, just to kind of, open up the possibilities of different ways of playing it. You can actually use one hand for each row of lights, and these actually fold down so that it's actually held up in place. So that was the reason for 2 sets. But they actually are mirrored, like, you know, they do the same. Any more questions? No?
Play with it.
You want to play with it? Yeah. I apologise for the ugly gloves. Squeeze on that little finger, yeah.
Like the switches.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what I was thinking, but
No, I'm serious. I'm not being sarcastic.
I have an idea for a third glove that I'm going to use. Maybe just uses all the rings, so that you can actually just have your hands free.
Do you have different frequencies on each LED?
Yeah.
So how do you, yeah. So
Yeah.
that's how you detect which one is being played.
Yeah. So and what's on the sketches pen was arpeggios. So you've got C, G, A, F, and then so these cycle between the different chords back and forth, and then these cycle between the different arpeggios, major, minor, and third.
No, but I was meaning are these just completely on, or are they being flashed at different speeds, the LEDs?
Oh yes, that they're doing that. The Arduinos.
Yeah, yeah. So it's
Yeah. You notice there's some notes are straining the art whenever you get higher up. Just changing the this note here.
There you go.
It's alright.
Oh. I'll be here all afternoon otherwise.
I found the noise is actually quite fun to play with.
Are you still cycling through the file, or did you manage to get the random number generator?
I
going?
got one version of it working, but it used a slow pulse width modulation. So like I think the frequency that the pulses are running at is present in it, and whenever I tried to use fast, I couldn't find a code that got.
That was updated as fast as that?
Yeah, I couldn't. I had to
Switch to noise,
convert a number to hex.
Switch
in
it to noise.
Arduino. I was trying to do it today, and I couldn't figure out how to do it. But
What number were you trying to do?
just
Was
random numbers between 0 and 255.
Was it possible to convert it to binary rather than hex? It's like if you do like a conversion as opposed to having numbers, you just start shifting bits, so that way you get a faster conversion to binary.
So it's kind of a wee bit new to me, the whole that side of Arduino. You know, like
Yeah, because I suppose because like what you're doing is like if it generates like let's say your decimal number, right? What you can do as opposed to having it a decimal, you just have it you just start shifting bits, so you get